Adam Sandler, a name synonymous with laughter and entertainment, rose to fame as one of Hollywood's most beloved comedic actors. Over a career spanning more than 3 decades, he delivered countless memorable performances, cementing his place in popular culture. However, behind the scenes, his life was not as perfect as the world imagined. From his meteoric rise to the heartbreaking turns of his personal life, Sandler's story is as complex as it is compelling. Early in career. Born on September 9, 1966, in Brooklyn, New York, Adam Richard Sandler grew up in Manchester, New Hampshire, where he discovered his knack for comedy at a young age. Encouraged by his brother, he performed stand-up comedy while attending New York University, eventually graduating from the Tisch School of the Arts in 1988. Little did the world know, this self-deprecating young comedian was destined to become a household name. Sandler's big break came in 1990 when he joined the cast of the legendary sketch show Saturday Night Live, SNL. Known for his quirky characters, musical skits, and offbeat humor, he quickly became a fan favorite. Hits like The Kanuka Song and Lunch Lady Land showcased his unique ability to blend humor and music, setting him apart in a highly competitive industry. However, his tenure at SNL came to an abrupt end in 1995 when he and fellow cast member Chris Farley were unexpectedly let go. While the dismissal was initially a blow, it became a turning point in Sandler's career. Rather than fading into obscurity, Sandler transitioned into film, a move that would define his legacy. His early movies, including Billy Madison 1995's Happy Gilmore 1996, and The Wedding Singer 1998, were smash hits, resonating with audiences who adored his goofy yet heartfelt portrayals. These films didn't just entertain, they established Sandler as a relatable everyman, someone who could find humor in life's most mundane moments. Happy Gilmore, for example, combined Sandler's love of sports with his knack for absurd comedy, resulting in a cult classic that remains iconic to this day. By the early 2000s, Sandler was not just an actor, but a brand. His production company, Happy Madison Productions, allowed him to maintain creative control and collaborate with his close-knit group of friends, including Rob Schneider, David Spade, and Kevin James. This camaraderie translated into a string of box office successes, including Big Daddy 1999, Mr. Deeds 2002, and 50 First Dates 2004. Financially, Sandler was thriving, signing a groundbreaking $250 million deal with Netflix in 2014 to produce a series of films directly for the platform. Despite his comedic persona, Sandler's versatility shone in dramatic roles like Punch Drunk Love 2002 and Uncut Gems 2019. The latter, a high-stakes thriller, earned him widespread critical acclaim and positioned him as a serious contender in Hollywood's elite acting circles. Critics lauded Sandler's intense performance, with many calling it the best work of his career. Adam Sandler's journey from an awkward young comedian to a global icon is one filled with triumphs and tribulations. His impact on comedy and film is undeniable, but his story also serves as a reminder that success often comes with sacrifices. Adam Sandler's rise to the top of Hollywood was anything but conventional. Known for his offbeat humor and unique comedic style, he turned lowbrow jokes and slapstick antics into box office gold. His career highlights showcase a man who understood his audience and knew exactly how to deliver the kind of humor they craved. However, as his career soared, Sandler also faced criticism and challenges that shaped his public and personal image. After his dismissal from Saturday Night Live in 1995, Sandler took a leap of faith into feature films, a move that proved to be a game-changer. His first major hit, Billy Madison 1995, was a surreal comedy about a man-child repeating grades to inherit his father's fortune. While panned by critics, It resonated with audiences, particularly young viewers, who appreciated Sandler's absurd, irreverent humor. The film's success laid the foundation for his unique brand of comedy, silly, chaotic, and ultimately heartfelt. Sandler struck gold again with Happy Gilmore, 1996, a sports comedy about a failed hockey player turned golfer. The movie introduced audiences to Sandler's now iconic temper tantrums and physical comedy. Interestingly, Sandler's love for sports was not just a comedic device, it was deeply personal. Growing up, he had a passion for basketball and often incorporated his love for the game into his work, whether through character backstories or cameo appearances by athletes like Shaquille O'Neal. As the 1990s drew to a close, Sandler became a reliable box office draw. The Waterboy, 1998, in which he played a socially awkward football team waterboy with anger issues, was a massive success, grossing over $190 million worldwide. This film, much like Sandler himself, was a paradox. It was universally disagreed by critics, but adored by audiences. Sandler's movies consistently achieved this peculiar duality. In 1990, Sandler founded his production company, Happy Madison Productions, named after his early hits Happy Gilmore and Billy Madison. This move marked a turning point in his career, giving him creative control and the ability to produce films tailored to his comedic vision. Happy Madison became a powerhouse, churning out a string of profitable comedies such as Mr. Deeds, 2002, Click, 2006, and Grown Ups, 2010. Sandler's approach to filmmaking was as unconventional as his humor. He often cast his real-life friends, including David Spade, Rob Schneider, and Kevin James, in his movies. Critics disagreed with this practice, dubbing his films as paid vacations for his friends, but Sandler defended it. "Why wouldn't I want to work with the people I love? If you're going to spend months on set, wouldn't you want to be surrounded by people who make you happy?" he once said in an interview. This sense of camaraderie and loyalty endeared him to his collaborators, even if it drew skepticism from critics. While Sandler's movies raked in billions at the box office, they are often not appreciated by critical scorn. Films like Jack and Jill, 2011, and The Ridiculous Six, 2015, were not appreciated for their crude humor and lazy storytelling, earning dismal ratings on platforms like Rotten Tomatoes. Jack and Jill was particularly infamous, sweeping the Golden Raspberry Awards, Razzies, with a record-breaking 10 wins, including Worst Picture and Worst Actor for Sandler. This period marked a turning point in Sandler's career. Despite the financial success of his films, the overwhelming negativity from critics began to affect his reputation. Sandler himself acknowledged the criticism, joking in a 2014 interview, "I stopped reading reviews because I know they'll ruin my day. I just focus on the people who love what I do." Yet, behind the humor, there was a sense of vulnerability. Colleagues revealed that the comments deeply affected him, particularly when they questioned his dedication to his craft. In 2014, Sandler signed a groundbreaking deal with Netflix to produce and star in a series of films exclusive to the streaming platform. The deal, initially worth $250 million, was later extended due to the massive viewership his movies garnered. Films like The Do-Over, 2016, and Murder Mystery, 2019, became some of the platform's most watched titles, proving that Sandler still had a loyal fan base. Interestingly, Sandler's partnership with Netflix allowed him to experiment with different genres and audiences. While his comedies remained his bread and butter, he also ventured into darker, more dramatic territory with Uncut Gems, 2019. The film, directed by the Safdie brothers, was a high-stakes thriller but marked a stark departure from Sandler's usual roles. Critics who are now singing his praises. The New York Times called his performance career-defining, while Rolling Stone hailed it as Oscar-worthy. Although he didn't receive an Academy Award nomination, Sandler's work in Uncut Gems proved that he was capable of so much more than comedy. Personal struggles behind the scenes. While his professional life appeared to thrive, Sandler's personal life was not without its challenges. Known for his down-to-earth demeanor and love for family, Sandler often spoke about the difficulty of balancing work and home life. Married to Jackie Sandler since 2003, he credited his wife as his biggest support system. However, his grueling work schedule frequently kept him away from his two daughters, Sadie and Sunny. In interviews, Sandler expressed regret about missing milestones in their lives, a sentiment that many working parents could relate to. In addition to family pressures, Sandler began experiencing health issues in the late 2010s. Reports emerged that he had suffered from chronic pain due to injuries sustained during his physically demanding comedic performances. In 2022, he underwent hip surgery, which limited his mobility and forced him to scale back his workload. Fans noticed his increasingly frail appearance during public events, fueling speculation about his well-being. Adam Sandler's career is a testament to his resilience and ability to connect with audiences despite critical backlash. However, the constant demands of his profession, coupled with personal struggles, began to take a toll. Sandler, once celebrated as Hollywood's king of comedy, found himself at a crossroads, grappling with the pressure to evolve in an ever-changing industry. In this phase of his life, Sandler's story took a poignant turn, highlighting the sacrifices often hidden behind the curtain of fame. As we delve deeper into his journey, we'll uncover the events that shaped his later years and the legacy he leaves behind. As Adam Sandler's career continued to evolve, the pressures of maintaining his place in Hollywood began to weigh heavily on him. Behind the cheerful persona that brought joy to millions lay a man grappling with personal struggles, health issues, and the challenges of balancing family life with the demands of a relentless industry. While Sandler rarely spoke publicly about his difficulties, those close to him revealed glimpses of the man behind the camera, a person far more complex than the light-hearted roles he played on screen. For all his success, Sandler's deep love for his family often clashed with the rigorous demands of his career. Married to Jackie Sandler since 2003, Adam frequently credited his wife as the rock of his life, often sharing humorous anecdotes about their marriage in interviews. Jackie, a former model and actress who appeared in many of Adam's films, was his biggest supporter both on and off screen. Together, they raised two daughters, Sadie and Sunny, whom Adam adored. However, the same career that brought Sandler fame and fortune also created a distance from his family. In interviews, he admitted feeling guilty about the time he missed with his children due to the long hours spent on film sets or promotional tours. "You miss birthdays, school plays, and all the little moments that matter," Sandler shared in a rare, vulnerable moment during a 2019 interview. Despite his efforts to stay connected, like dedicating Sundays as family days, the tension between work and home life became an ongoing challenge. Adding to the complexity, his daughters were growing up in the public eye, which came with its own set of pressures. Sandler revealed his fears about their exposure to fame, explaining that he wanted them to have as normal a childhood as possible. However, navigating this balance became increasingly difficult as his public image loomed large. The physically demanding nature of Sandler's comedic performances began to take a toll on his body as he aged. Known for his high-energy antics in movies like The Waterboy and Happy Gilmore, Sandler often performed stunts and exaggerated physical comedy that left him hurt. These injuries, compounded over decades, began to manifest in chronic pain that he could no longer ignore. By 2020, Sandler was noticeably less active in his roles, often choosing scripts that required less physical exertion. Fans speculated about his health, after he was seen walking with a noticeable limp at public events. In 2022, Sandler underwent hip surgery to address lingering issues, a procedure he described as both necessary and life-altering. The surgery forced him to slow down and re-evaluate his lifestyle, but it also underscored the sacrifices he had made for his craft. Close friends and collaborators expressed concern about his well-being during this time. Kevin James, a frequent co-star, mentioned in an interview how Sandler often pushed himself too hard, prioritizing work over rest. "Adam's one of the hardest working guys I know, but sometimes you wish he'd take a break for his own sake," James remarked. Jack and Jill 2011 is a film so poorly received that it became a cultural punchline, sweeping the Golden Raspberry Awards with 10 wins. The movie was labeled a career low point. Sandler, who rarely responded to critics, brushed off the backlash with humor, joking in an interview, "At least I'm winning something." However, those close to him revealed that the negativity did affect him, particularly when it overshadowed his genuine efforts to entertain. Sandler's dramatic performance in Uncut Gems 2019 offered a brief respite from this comment. The film, hailed as a masterpiece by many, showcased a side of Sandler that few had seen before. In a now infamous interview, Sandler joked about making the worst movie ever. While the comment was delivered with his trademark humor, it hinted at the frustration he felt about his standing in the industry. As the film industry evolved, so did audience preferences. The rise of streaming platforms and a shift toward more nuanced storytelling left little room for the broad, slapstick humor that had defined much of Sandler's career. While his Netflix deal ensured that his films continued to reach millions, the landscape of comedy was changing, and Sandler found himself navigating unfamiliar territory. Friends noted that Sandler felt the pressure to remain relevant, particularly as younger comedians and actors emerged. The shift was not lost on Sandler, who acknowledged in an interview, "It's not easy to stay funny forever. You have to evolve. But you also don't want to lose what made people love you in the first place." This tension between staying true to his comedic roots and adapting to a new era of storytelling was a constant struggle. Despite these challenges, Sandler's loyalty to his collaborators and his work ethic never wavered. Even in the face of setbacks, he continued to create, driven by a deep love for making people laugh. Yet, the question lingered: how much longer could he keep up with an industry that demanded constant reinvention? Through all his struggles, Sandler remained a deeply private individual. While his on-screen characters were often loud and over-the-top, the real Adam Sandler was introspective and reserved. He avoided the trappings of Hollywood parties, choosing instead to spend time with his family and close friends. Those who worked with him described him as kind, generous, and fiercely loyal, a man who valued relationships above all else. However, the weight of his personal and professional challenges was undeniable. Sandler, who had spent decades making the world laugh, found himself grappling with his inner battles. As his career entered its later years, the toll of fame, criticism, and physical strain became more apparent, setting the stage for the bittersweet chapters that lay ahead. The decline and the shadows of tragedy. As Adam Sandler entered his 50s, his career and personal life were marked by a noticeable shift. The energy and humor that had once defined him on screen seemed to dim, replaced by a quieter, more reflective presence. While he continued to work, producing films and collaborating with friends, the cracks beneath the surface became more apparent. The burdens of physical decline, professional criticism, and personal struggles began to take a toll, casting a shadow over his later years. Sandler's physical health became an increasingly public concern during the late 2010s and early 2020s. Known for his physically demanding comedic performances, Sandler's body bore the brunt of decades of stunts, exaggerated movements, and action-heavy sequences. From the football tackles in The Waterboy to the chaotic brawls in Happy Gilmore, his roles often required a level of physicality that was punishing over time. The recovery process was grueling, and Sandler struggled with limited mobility, which affected both his work and personal life. Despite his efforts to stay active post-surgery, fans noticed a significant change in his appearance. Sandler, once vibrant and full of energy, appeared frail and visibly aged during public appearances. Paparazzi photos of him walking with a cane further fueled concerns about his health. While he affected these issues, insisting he was on the mend, those close to him revealed that the recovery process was slow and emotionally taxing. As Sandler's physical health waned, so did his ability to dominate the comedy landscape as he once had. The early 2020s saw a significant shift in audience preferences, with younger viewers gravitating toward more nuanced and diverse forms of humor. The slapstick and broad comedy that had defined much of Sandler's career now felt dated in an industry increasingly driven by sharp, witty dialogue and socially relevant themes. Although Sandler's Netflix deal ensured a steady stream of films, the reception to his projects was mixed. Movies like Hubie Halloween 2020 and Home Team 2022 drew large audiences, but failed to capture the critical acclaim or cultural relevance of his earlier hits. Critics continued to dismiss his work as formulaic, and even loyal fans began to express frustration with the repetitive nature of his films. Sandler himself acknowledged these challenges, admitting in a 2021 interview, "Comedy is harder than it's ever been. People expect more, and I don't blame them. It's a different world now, and you've got to keep up or step aside." While his humility and self-awareness endeared him to some, others questioned whether Sandler was losing his creative spark. The pressure to stay relevant in an ever-changing industry weighed heavily on him, contributing to a growing sense of self-doubt. Behind the scenes, Sandler's personal life became increasingly isolated. While he maintained a close bond with his wife, Jackie, and their 2 daughters, his circle of friends began to shrink as he retreated from the public eye. The pandemic years further exacerbated this isolation, as Sandler opted to spend most of his time at home, away from the bustling Hollywood scene. Friends and collaborators noted a change in Sandler's demeanor during this period. Once known for his infectious energy and playful banter, he became quieter and more introspective. Kevin James, a longtime friend and co-star, described him as more subdued, explaining that Sandler had been reflecting on his life and legacy. He's always been a thinker, but lately he's been looking back a lot on his career, his family, and what he's accomplished. I think it's hit him how fast everything moves. This introspection, while natural for someone entering the later stages of their career, also brought with it a sense of melancholy. Sandler began to express regrets about the time he had missed with his family and the opportunities he had passed up in pursuit of his career. In a candid interview, he shared, "You look back and wonder if you could have done things differently, spent more time at home, taken better care of yourself. It's tough, you know." While Sandler continued to work sporadically, those around him worried about his well-being. Friends urged him to take a step back and prioritize his health. But Sandler, ever the workaholic, found it difficult to slow down completely. In his own words, "Making people laugh is what I do. If I stop, I don't know who I am." Adam Sandler's later years are a poignant reminder of the challenges faced by even the most successful individuals. As his story unfolds, it becomes clear that the man who brought joy to millions was, in many ways, battling his silent struggles. In the final chapter of his journey, we see a man grappling with the weight of his legacy and the sacrifices that came with it. The legacy and the weight of fame. As Adam Sandler entered the twilight years of his career, his life became a poignant reflection on the cost of fame, the inevitability of change, and the legacy he would leave behind. The cheerful comedian who once brought joy to millions was now a quieter, more contemplative figure, grappling with the weight of his accomplishments and the toll they had taken on his well-being. By the mid-2020s, Sandler's appearances in films became increasingly rare. While his Netflix deal ensured a steady output of projects, he chose to take on fewer roles, focusing on producing and mentoring younger talents instead. This decision was driven in part by his declining health and in part by a desire to spend more time with his family. Friends and collaborators noted that Sandler had become more selective, prioritizing projects that resonated with him personally rather than chasing commercial success. Despite stepping back from the limelight, Sandler's influence on the industry remained undeniable. His production company, Happy Madison Productions, continued to thrive, producing films for up-and-coming comedians and actors. He also quietly funded several philanthropic initiatives, including scholarships for young filmmakers and donations to children's hospitals. These acts of generosity, often done without fanfare, reflected Sandler's deep gratitude for the opportunities he had been given. In his later years, Sandler's family became his greatest source of solace. His wife, Jackie, stood by him through every high and low, and his daughters, Sadie and Sunny, grew into independent young women who remained close to their father. Sandler often spoke about how his daughters kept him grounded, reminding him of the simple joys of life. In one of his last interviews, he shared, "They're the reason I keep going. When I see them laugh, it's better than any standing ovation I've ever gotten." In private conversations with close friends, he expressed a bittersweet mix of pride and sadness as he watched his daughters navigate adulthood. While he cherished their successes, he couldn't help but wonder how things might have been different if he had spent more time at home during their childhood. As Sandler's career drew to a close, discussions about his legacy became more prominent. For his fans, he would always be the king of comedy, a man who could make them laugh during their darkest days. Films like Happy Gilmore, Big Daddy, and The Wedding Singer remained cultural touchstones, cherished by multiple generations. His dramatic turn in Uncut Gems earned him newfound respect from critics, proving that his talents extended far beyond slapstick humor. However, the critical perception of Sandler's career remained polarizing. While some acknowledged his ability to connect with audiences and dominate the comedy genre, others dismissed his body of work as repetitive and juvenile. Sandler himself appeared unfazed by this dichotomy, once saying, "I never made movies for the critics. I made them for the people who wanted to laugh. That's enough for me." In 2025, Sandler announced that he would be taking an indefinite break from acting, citing health reasons and a desire to focus on his family. The announcement, though not entirely unexpected, was met with an outpouring of support from fans and colleagues alike. Tributes poured in from actors, comedians, and filmmakers who credited Sandler with inspiring their careers. His longtime collaborator Drew Barrymore called him a rare gem in Hollywood, someone who never lost sight of who he was. Sandler's farewell to the industry included a heartfelt appearance at a comedy benefit for children's hospitals, where he performed one last time alongside his closest friends. The event, attended by thousands, was a celebration of his remarkable career and the joy he had brought to so many. Sandler, visibly emotional, thanked the audience, saying, "You've given me the best job in the world. I hope I made you laugh as much as you've made me smile." As Sandler retreated from the public eye, he embraced a quieter life, spending his days with family and close friends. He took up painting and writing, hobbies he had long neglected during his busy career. In a candid moment with a journalist, Sandler described this phase of his life as one of reflection and redemption. "I've done a lot, but I've also missed a lot. This is my chance to make up for lost time." Sandler's health remained a concern, and his recovery from hip surgery was slow and complicated by other age-related ailments. Despite these challenges, he maintained his signature humor, joking with friends about being the oldest water boy in town. Yet, behind the jokes, there was an undeniable vulnerability, a man coming to terms with his mortality and the legacy he would leave behind. Though Sandler's active career had ended, his impact on comedy and film endured. His movies continued to be streamed by millions, and his influence could be seen in the work of younger comedians who credited him as a trailblazer. Sandler's ability to create a unique blend of humor and heart ensured that his legacy would not be forgotten. In the end, Adam Sandler's life was a tapestry of laughter, love, and lessons learned. While the pressures of fame and the weight of his struggles often cast a shadow, they never diminished the light he brought to the world. His story serves as a reminder that even the brightest stars face thorny battles, but through resilience and authenticity, they can leave a lasting mark on those who admire them. As fans revisit his films and remember his legacy, one thing is clear: Adam Sandler was more than just a comedian. He was a storyteller, a friend, and a symbol of the enduring power of laughter. Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. We would love to hear from you. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more interesting updates. Thank you, and see you in the next videos.